Is Swartz's skill 3 RNG? Today we're gonna answer that question in a follow-up video to my previous video on Croissant. Note, if you do not watch my previous video first, this video will make absolutely no sense to you. Watch the previous video first by clicking on the top right pin. In this video, I will be responding to comments that I received in my previous video and elaborate on why I believe Arknights has a communication problem, as well as giving a solution that can fix it. Let me start off by saying this. This is not a math problem. Many people thought that the previous video was me showing off math and percentages. That is not the right lesson to take away from that. The point of the Croissant video was to show that Arknights has a problem with communication and delivering a clear message using language, not math. In the previous video, I pointed out that Croissant's skill 1 says talent effect increased to 200%. This means that her talent, which gives her a 20% chance to block all physical and magic damage, should increase to 200%. The reason it can go above 100% is because all allies within the adjacent 4 tiles gain half the effect. So there is a reason for the number to go above 100%. Number 2, while most people agree with me that this sentence is confusing, some people brush it up as a mistranslation. This is incorrect. Croissant on CN also says the exact same thing. Talent effect increased to 200%, not by. Number 3, some people are misinterpreting talent effect increased to 200% as talent effect increased to 200% of the original value. The description does not say that. Talent effect increased to 200% does not equal talent effect increased to 200% of the original value. Some people tell me that it is safe to make this assumption that it is of the original value, in which case we can take a look at Schwarz. Schwartz's talent says talent activation chance increases to 100%. So if you were to apply the same logic of reading Croissant's description onto Swartz, which you should be doing since you are making that assumption in the first place, then when we look at Schwartz's talent, which gives her a 20% chance to increase her own attack and decrease the enemy's defense for 5 seconds, the 20% here should really go up to 40%, meaning Schwartz's talent activation chance is not 100%. However, is that true? A simple look at the skill details here will reveal that it is not true. Talent chance increases by 1, meaning the talent activation chance is increased to 100%. Schwartz's skill 3 is a guaranteed debuff 100% of the time, as it accurately says in the description. If you want to argue with me and say that talent activation chance is not talent effect increase, let's take a look at what that actually means. Croissant was added to the game first, so talent effect increase is what came first. Why is it that Swartz, who was added later, does not say talent effect increase to 100%? Well, let's take a look at her talent. Her talent has a 20% chance of activating, and when it activates, it increases her attack to 160% and decreases the enemy's defense by 20%. Meaning, if Schwartz's talent were to say talent effect increase to 100%, what that would mean would be, when attacking, 20% chance to increase attack to 100% and decrease the target's defense by 100% for 5 seconds. That is not true. What is true is the talent activation being 100%. Now, how does this apply to Croissant? Well, the skill description itself is ambiguous. It can be misinterpreted, although I don't think many people will misinterpret this. It says, has a 20% chance to block physical and magical damage. Allies within the adjacent 4 tiles gain half the effect. Okay, well, what is the effect? If the activation chance of the skill is 20%, then that means the effect is to block physical and magical damage. Meaning, allies within the 4 adjacent tiles gain half the effect could be interpreted as allies within the adjacent 4 tiles have a 20% chance to block half physical and half magical damage. That is not true. When we drop down the talent details, we can see here that Croissant herself has a 20% chance of dodge, and people in the aura have a 10% chance to dodge. Which tells me that the effect in this context is not just block physical and magical damage, but instead the entire paragraph. Meaning, Croissant's talent is Miracle Field. If someone were to ask you, what is Croissant's talent? You don't say, oh, it gives her a 20% chance to blah, blah, blah. No, you say her talent is Miracle Field. That is her talent. The effect of her talent has a 20% chance to blah, blah, blah. Okay, with that established, looking at her skill, talent effect increases to 200%, meaning the effect here will directly increase to 200%. If you do not understand the English language, and you think 2 means by, 2 does not equal by. Whether you increase 20% to 40% or 60% does not matter. 20% cannot become 60% by increasing it to 200%. 20% increased by 200% gives you 60%. If your final result is 60%, you have increased 20% by 200%. If your final result is 40%, then you have increased the original 20% by 200% of the original value. You have increased the number by another value, not to another value. That is what the word to means. If you don't believe me, search up the word to on a dictionary and try to find one that fits your definition. To is to establish an end destination. By is something you must go through in order to reach the end destination. If I go to the supermarket, I am at the supermarket. If I go by the bakery to go to the supermarket, I have first gone to the bakery and then the supermarket. If I go to the supermarket on the way to the bakery, then I go to the supermarket first, then I go to the bakery. If I do not say on the way to the bakery, you cannot just assume that I have gone to the bakery. Just like how here it says talent effect increased to 200%, you cannot assume it is talent effect increased to 200% of the original value. If you do this here, you must also do it for Swartz. And if you do it for Swartz, that is incorrect. Furthermore, there is no way in-game for you to actually see these statistics. The only way we're able to view these are through a ship. What this is telling me is that Arknights cannot deliver a clear message that is not ambiguous, and there should be a standardized description. They should be delivering a message that is clear and not ambiguous. For another example, Tectone just pointed this out. If we take a look at Amiya's skill 1, it says attack speed increases by 30. What does that mean? 30 what? 30 seconds? 30 milliseconds? 30 frames? What is that? The developers know how much this number is. They need to add some sort of unit behind this number. So if Croissant's skill is a typo and she is not intended to become invincible, how would I suggest fixing it? Well, to solve that one, we take a look at an existing operator called Ethan. Ethan's talent gives him a 25% chance to bind enemies for 3 seconds. His skill 2 increases the talent activation chance to 3 times. This is not ambiguous and cannot be misinterpreted. 25% has been increased by 3 times. There is nothing confusing about that. 25% times 3 is 75%. Everybody understands that. There is no possible way you can misinterpret this. For the final nail in the coffin, in order for object A to get to object B, A must become B. Let's say there is a room of 100 people and 1% of people in this room play Arknights. If I then say the 1% of people playing Arknights in this room has increased to 100%, how many people are there in this room playing Arknights? If you said 101, that is incorrect on 2 levels. One is because there are only 100 people in this room, and number 2 is either because you increase the number 1 by 100, not to 100, or you increase the number 1 to 101%, which is not what I said. The second answer you could have given is 2 people. This is also incorrect. In order for you to get this answer, you must have increased the 1% by 100% by multiplying it. The only way 1% can get to 100% is by going to 100%. Some people say this example doesn't work because it's only 100%. Then let's replace the number with 200%. If the 1% of people in this room has increased to 200%, how many people in this room of 100 people are playing Arknights? The answer is 200. There would be 200 people in this room playing Arknights, but that is not possible because there are only 100 people in this room. The initial statement itself of how it can increase to 200% is false. It is like me asking you how you can eat 200% of an apple. That doesn't work. The reason 200% works for Croissant is because she shares half of the abilities with the 4 surrounding allies. Remember, A to B means A has become B. If A does not become B, you have increased A by B.